Hi, Grandma. Francis asked me Brodie. Hi, Grandma. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, okay, now I'm going to interview. Okay. What year were you born and where?
I was born in 1921, December 3rd, in East Orange, New Jersey.
What major things did you observe about women when you were younger?
The thing I observed about women when I was younger was it only really mattered to me about my mother, my grandmother, my cousin, the mother of friends of mine. That was the important role for a woman at that time, and I really did not know anything about women much in public life.
Do you feel that women have more opportunities today than when they did when you were younger?
They definitely have more opportunities in lots of different fields. They can pursue most any career they would like to have, and they can go to school to learn how to be competent in that particular thing. And I don't really think that women before then were too terribly interested. Maybe there were a few, but as a general rule, if you went to college, you went to college just to have a better, more well-rounded education. But we're not particularly thinking about any career or anything in life.
Now, did you go to college?
I went to college, yes, I did. I thought my mother would never feel that I had enough education. I went to college a long while. I went to high school, and then I went to one college and took a home economics course, because at that time the war was coming, and rather than taking liberal arts in college, we felt it was good to specialize in one particular field.
What college did you go to?
I went to Hood College in Frederick, Maryland. And then after that, I decided that I was very interested in occupational therapy. And so I went to Columbia University in New York to the School of Occupational Therapy. And that's where I graduated.
What year did you graduate college?
Well, I graduated finally in 1947 because I was married a year before I graduated, and during that year I didn't go to school, and so I finished in 1947.
Did you know many of your friends that went to college?
I'd say most of my friends went to college, and as far as the difference between men and women, the number, I would say it was pretty equal. I think as many of my friends went to college as the men I knew.
Out of the percent that went to college, did most of them get jobs or stay home to take care of the kids?
I don't really feel that people thought too much about getting jobs or having a career, because mostly people got married, had children, and no way would they work. I didn't have any friends that worked.
Did you work, and if so, where?
No, I didn't work when I graduated from college for a while. You see, the thing is that at that time, it wasn't, the economy was so different that there wasn't the necessity for a wife and mother to work, because there was plenty of money, things cost less, and it just wasn't necessary as it is today.
What were 3 important dates in your life?
The day I got married, and the day each one of my 3 children were born. 1950, 1954, 1957. And then other important day was the day my youngest child got married, which meant all three were grown up and away from home and were married. And so all of a sudden we were free spirits.
We'll be right back after these messages.
I am Master Harada Takanawa. Wingapo. Young grasshoppers must learn in the ways of Kung Fu. You can also specialize in Taijutsu. Watch the many followers of the ninja ways. Well, besides that, they're very talented pupils, so call today.
Call now for a 50% off class Sunday at 2 o'clock p.m. The number is 954 no refunds. Once again, the number is 954 no refunds at the Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon Gym.
Health insurance is not included. We will not help you at all if you get hurt. So go cry to your mama.
You'll get this free bag if you sign up now at the Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon Gym.
And now back to the interview.
Do you have any daughters, and if so, how many?
I have one daughter.
How has changes in women's rights affected her life?
Well, quite a bit, I guess. But when she didn't even finish college because she got married, much to my disappointment. And then as soon as she got married, she did get a job, started working. So that was different from what I did.
Do you think it is harder or easier to raise children now opposed to when you were still raising yours?
I think it's a lot harder to raise children now than it was before because of all the changes that have taken place in this generation. When you have two parents working, they don't have the time to spend with the children that we who weren't working did. And then there is a general breakdown in the moral standards. Many things are right now that weren't right when we were growing up and when we had children. And it really is very different now, and I don't know, it's much harder to bring up a child. You have your own, each family can have its own moral standards, but still they're faced with what's out there. And all the things that are on television, in books, in the newspaper, everything. It can go completely against the way you feel as far as moral standards go. I guess that's it.
Are things different today for women than they were when you were a child?
Well, they have a lot more freedom and a lot more choices to make in their life. Not only the chance to work, but the kind of career they want to pursue. And sometimes that becomes all important, and some other things are let go. They don't have time for a lot of the family things and all that we had as parents. So it makes it difficult. That's why there's so many divorces, I think, because parents each have a career of their own, which immediately kind of draws them apart instead of closer together. And the more that happens, the harder it is to raise children and understand their needs. So it's a very difficult thing.
How has the women's movement changed your life?
Well, Not too much. It hasn't changed our particular lives because we're pretty settled in what we do and want to do, and there's not that much change. But as I was saying earlier, I think it was in the 50s, this one woman's lib, Betty Friedan, who died just a week or so ago, came to our church to tell us about woman's lib and freedom, and that we should get out there and do things, that we should demand our rights and all of this. And that was about the first time that we had ever heard anybody say much about that. And she was certainly a pioneer, and she just kept on going through the years, and I guess she probably did a lot for women's rights. But it wasn't a part of my life, so it didn't really matter that much.
What women do you admire most and why?
I was thinking about that, and I would say Betty Ford and Barbara Bush and Laura Bush are three remarkable women for what they've accomplished, and I really think that they're a good role model for anybody.
Do you think women have equal rights today, and why or why not?
Did I think what?
Do you think women have equal rights today?
Oh, I think so. As far as I can tell, they do. I don't think there's too much prejudice against women in any kind of a job or anything nowadays. I mean, very often women become the head of companies and things. So I think they really have a very, very fair chance to do what they are able to do. I don't think they're kept back because of the men. Not much. Doesn't seem that way.
And now for a commercial break.
Hi, I'm Alana Brodie, here to inform you about the bird flu. Now, on February 21st in Nigeria, a woman named Rakiu Shiu's chickens died, along with her neighbors. The birds probably died of the bird flu, but it's impossible to say for sure. Well, the disease continues to spread through birds since it arrived in Africa on February 8th. No human cases have been reported. Unfortunately, because infected birds are traveling around neighboring countries, specialists say that it'll be nearly impossible to stamp out of Africa. The minister insisted that the best way to kill the birds would be to slit their throats, but specialists disagree and say that gassing the birds would be safer. The British donated protective suits to the people of Nigeria. The problem was they were used incorrectly and still had the hands exposed. Farmers put their chickens in bags, threw them into pits, and burned them alive. Patients say that they aren't equipped well to deal with the bird flu, and they don't know what to do. Later, on February 25th, tragedy struck when the deadly bird flu was found in domesticated turkeys in France. This discovery caused panic, and the market loss was almost 50%. And it also stopped purchasing turkeys from France after the announcement. France wants to vaccinate their turkeys, but other countries won't take the birds with the vaccine because it can mask the symptoms of the disease. One farm owned by Daniel Clare had found that his birds were infected. Mr. Clare thought the cause was his straw he left aside had treated and replaced the straw. Unfortunately, the next morning, Mr. Clare found 400 of the birds dead, and the rest sick. Later, Mr. Clare's remaining birds were slaughtered, and Mr. Clare's family were all treated and couldn't leave their home. The bird flu disease is highly contagious among poultry. It can also be contracted into people who come in contact with the infected bird. Sadly, the infection could ruin France's upscale free-range bird industry. Do you have any role models in your life?
The role models in my life, I would say, were my grandmother and my mother. And fortunately, I feel that I have somewhat inherited the things that I admired about them. My positive attitude, which I really have, and my optimistic attitude, my cheeriness, my sense of humor, I hope are all good things that I got from them. And they certainly helped to make me happy.
How might your life have been different if you were a male?
I have no idea. I've never thought of it from a male point of view. I don't know how I would feel. I know that years ago, the male part of a marriage was much harder because the men didn't depend upon the wife for any support as far as financial ends came. And so it was really difficult for a man. Where now, it's equal most times. And it has to be because nowadays you have to have 2 incomes in order to live, most of the time.
What changes would you like to see for women in the future?
I think it would be nice if women could feel that they're working because they want to work, not because they have to work. And many times they really don't have to work, but people have such big, high ideas, and the competition between couples now is so great, they feel they have to have this big, expensive home and this big, expensive car and go on expensive vacations, which they never could have if the wife wasn't working also. Lots of times I think the wife would be willing to go without some of that, to have a little bit more time at home with her family.
What advice would you give to me or other young women about life?
Well, I would hope that you would grow up in a world where you could have choices. And whether you want to pursue a career, whether you want to pursue something else, some other thing that may not bring in a lot of money. I also think that as a young person, you have to think what ideals you have. What's important to you in life? What is your standard of living? And work toward that. And not worry about what's going on and the changes that aren't good. Just think about the things that you know are good and the things that you want for yourself and later on your children.
Well, Grandma, thanks a lot for letting me interview you for my school project. It really helped us.
Yay!
And now a special word from Interactive Speech Solutions. Here's one of our talking computers, Crystal. Take it away, Crystal.
I would be glad to, John. Hello, TV audience. Talking computers are a big advancement in technology, and now you can put them to work for yourself. Education is a great area for us. With the Read Writer and the Cool C quiz, we can really help kids do better in school. First, take a look at the Cool C quiz.
After opening Cool C quiz, students click on Start Quiz to open a menu of available quiz databases. Each step along the way, the computer talks to the student, guiding and encouraging them.
If you are in the capital city of Honolulu, what state are you in?
Click your mouse on Hawaii.
Excellent work. That is the correct answer, Hawaii. Questions, clues, and the correct answer are all read aloud to the student so that they are seeing and hearing the information. The program keeps score and can time the quiz. We even have a dual language version available so that questions and clues can be provided in two languages. Now, let's take a quick listen to the cool Siri writer. In this application, your computer can read any text to you, as I am doing now. Or, you can use a microphone and have your computer type out anything you say. It's easy and very useful. Visit www.coolconversations.com to learn more. I will look forward to talking with you soon.